New York City is now feeding rats birth control to curb the epidemic.
Rats is the #1 carrier disease.
Other animals have died from rats. Dogs die from eating dead rats. Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about rat birth control that has been approved in New York City. And no, I'm not talking about Adams and his people in the government. I'm talking about the rats in the subway buildings and the street. I also have news footage of people giving their actual opinions. Before we get into the story, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I do weekly uploads and I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. Thank you. New York officials have greenlit a plan to reduce their city's rat infestation using a rat contraceptive. Basically, it's Plan B for rats of New York City. Planned Parenthood for the fine rodents of New York City, some might say. It should come as no surprise that New York has a rat problem. A study from M&M Pest Control estimated New York City's rat population reached 3 million in 2023, a massive increase from the estimated 1 million in 2010. For reference, New York City's human population is 8.3 million. Buildings are overrun and subway stations are swarmed with rodents. Rats are prolific breeders and can give birth up to 13 pups with each litter. The babies are capable of reproducing within a month or so, while the mother is ready to mate again within 24 hours. God damn. And I thought rabbits were bad. How did they even come up with that estimate for rats though? And to be honest, it's probably way more than 3 million. It's probably double to triple that. Who's out here doing the rat census anyways? I can just see people with clipboards running after the rats in the subways and the buildings trying to count them.
Count to 4. I can only count 2.
The rats of New York will have a new problem to worry about now that the city council approved the use of ContraPest, a type of rodent birth control. The contraceptive will be hidden in containers that entice rats to eat it. The decision follows a number of trials in previous years which reportedly cut rat populations by 1/3 within 3 months, and a news of a successful trial that just happened in Boston over the summer. So shout outs to Boston for being the guinea pig. Now it's New York City's turn. ContraPest, as it's known, is made by Tech. The product prevents rats from reproducing for 45 days after consuming it. A new Scientist article written in 2017 claims ContraPest worked by making rats infertile because it triggered early menopause in females while impairing sperm production in the males. So the hope is that they won't get their reproductive parts back to normal after ingesting the drug. Basically, we're just burning and destroying the reproductive organs, and fuck these rats, bro. Deadass. The pellets, which have a sweet taste that is attractive to rats, target ovarian function in females and sperm production in males. Basically, what they're trying to do is have the male rats just shooting blanks and giving female rats just crazy menopause hot flashes. Giving the rats poison candy basically just burns their organs, like I said before. Imagine if this backfires, though, and we just have even bigger rats, Hulk rats just roaming around the city. New York City rats adapt extremely fast, and it's only the latest shot at curbing its rat prolific procreation with contraceptives. The rats reproduce way too fast and the city can't get a handle on it. Back in 1967, Governor Nelson Rockefeller rolled out a program that was similar to this, where he dosed rats with estrogen-laced food, but their numbers evidently persevered. They just kept reproducing over and over and over again, and a decade ago, a joint program with the MTA tried controlling the rat population in Bryant Park with contraceptives. Kind of the same way we're doing now, but it didn't work before. So I don't know why they think it's gonna work now. So every time they try this contraceptive ploy, the rats adapt to it, and that's what makes me think this might not happen or work again. The company's website says the contraceptive comes in liquid form and is the only EPA-approved contraceptive for both male and female rats, targeting the source of reproduction. I wonder what happens if it gets into the drinking water, so put on your tinfoil hats here because I'm about to throw some conspiracies at you.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay.
I wonder how it will affect other animals that might eat the rats, or what might happen when the rats decompose. Will it affect the ground around it or areas around it? And personally, I don't always trust the government. I think it's in my nature as an American. Supporters say the method is more humane than killing the rodents and there is no danger of killing other animals by mistake, which is a known risk with poison. Last year, there was an outcry when Flaco the owl, who charmed New Yorkers after escaping captivity to live among Manhattan skyscrapers, was found dead with rat poison in his system. Following his death, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Bird Safe Buildings Act, which was later renamed to honor Flaco. The new rat contraceptive proposal is also named after Flaco. You can call him Flaco, you can call him Flaco. My Spanish brain wants to call him Flaco. Flaco's law seeks to find a new way to mitigate the city's rate of population through means that would prevent other animals from being harmed by accidents. I do think it's important to take care of the situation. This is something that the city hasn't actually tried to handle for years. They just recently implemented garbage bins for certain locations, but overall, trash just sits outside on the street. It's almost like the city invites the rats to eat and reproduce, and this is not just the owl. Other animals have died from rats. Dogs die from eating dead rats or rats that have been poisoned, and I can't imagine all the dogs and dog owners that have suffered because the city did not want to take care of this problem sooner. New York's Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, the Department of Sanitation, and rat experts would establish 2 pilot program areas around 10 blocks. The zones, which may be set up in Manhattan, the Bronx, or Brooklyn, include mostly residential buildings that are required to set out waste containers that I just mentioned before. I wonder if the residents in those areas even know that this program will be starting around them just to keep them safe from this experiment that the city is pulling. Also, wouldn't you want to know if they're experimenting with rat birth control in your area or rat plan B? That's something that I would want to know as well, just like as a person living in that area. If it all goes well with the plan, rats will ingest a contraceptive and become sterilized, basically not be able to have babies, preventing them from filling the city streets with successive generations of scampers. The city is just trying to like curb all these rats just having all these thousands and thousands of babies and the babies having more babies. You know, that's a slippery cycle you don't want to go down. We can't poison our way out of this. We cannot kill our way out of this, said Council Member Sean Abro, first introducing the bill in April. The pilot program will run for at least 12 months with inspectors making monthly checks to see how many pellets have been consumed across different neighborhoods. Now let's see what the people in New York City streets have to say about this new plan happening.
New York City is now feeding rats birth control to curb the epidemic. They've already tried poison, cats, traps.
Last resort tactic, like let's see what else works.
I think that's a good idea to feed the rats birth control so they don't reproduce.
I don't think that's a good idea at all.
Absolutely. Rats is the #1 carrier of disease.
This birth control is called ContraPest, and it limits the sperm in male rats and induces menopause-like symptoms in female rats.
Without the removal of garbage and whatnot, we wouldn't have a city.
How many rats would you say you see a day in New York?
So it goes back to what I just said. Remember how I mentioned like we just leave our garbage out in the streets? This guy is talking about the same thing. We in New York City, which I find is a crazy problem because I've lived in many different locations. For example, I lived in Buffalo and Hawaii, and they put all of their garbage in bins and everything is in a bin, and the rat population is not as bad or even close to as bad as in those other populations. So that's just something that I always blew my mind. So that's the story on New York City Rat Plan B. What are your thoughts? Is this a good idea or should we do something else? Thank you for watching the video. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. See you on the next one. Peace.